Once upon a time, there was a poor man walking in the forest. His name was Sherkhan. After some time, he felt tired and sat under a tree to rest. Sherkhan heard whistles coming out of the bushes. As he went near the bushes, he heard the whistles clearly. The whistles were coming out of an old, dirty bottle. Sherkhan felt very frightened. He asked himself, "What's in that bottle?" He saw the bottle shaking, and the whistles kept coming out of it. Sherkhan took the bottle and put it close to his ear. He heard a voice say, "Get me out of here! Get me out of here!" Sherkhan threw the bottle immediately. After a while, he heard the whistles again. He said, "Who are you?" He didn't get a reply, and the whistles continued. Finally, Sherkhan opened the bottle to see what was inside. Once he opened it, a lot of black smoke burst out. The smoke rose high in the sky. Then the smoke changed to the shape of a huge genie. It was as tall as a tree. The genie was red in color. He had red eyes and large golden earrings. Sherkhan tried to run away, but the genie picked him up. The genie roared, "Where are you going?" I'm going home," Sherkhan replied. The genie roared, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan was very frightened. He was shaking with fear. "What sort of work do you want?" he asked the genie. "Any kind of work," the genie replied. "You've let me out of the bottle, so you have to give me work to do. I must keep working day and night. The moment you stop giving me work, I shall eat you up." "Take me to the house," Sherkhan said. The genie carried him on his back. In a second, they reached Sherkhan's house. The house was very old and poor. Again, the genie said, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan felt scared. Sherkhan thought of his poor old house and said, "Build me a beautiful palace with a big farm." In few minutes, the palace and the farm were ready. Again, the genie said loudly, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan felt more scared. Sherkhan was very happy that the genie followed his orders. However, he was still afraid of the genie, as he always needed more work to do. "Get me plenty of gold and jewels," Sherkhan said. Soon, the gold and jewels were there. "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up," the genie said. "Get me the most expensive clothes to wear," Sherkhan said. At once, the genie brought the clothes. They were beautiful clothes with many bright colors, clothes that are fit for a prince. Sherkhan started to try on the new clothes, but the genie said, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan put on his new clothes rapidly and fearfully. Sherkhan was feeling hungry, so he immediately said, "Give me a lot of food to eat." In a second, Sherkhan found the table loaded with delicious food. He tried to eat, but he had no time. The genie again said, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan said to himself, "I have a big problem." Sherkhan kept on giving the genie all kinds of work to do, but the genie finished all work so fast. "Get me some peasants to work on the farm," Sherkhan said. The genie got Sherkhan the peasants. Sherkhan thought, "I cannot eat at all, and when the night comes, the genie wouldn't let me sleep. He finishes the work in no time and asks for more." "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up," the genie said. Sherkhan was very tired and hungry. Sherkhan said, "I need servants to serve me." The genie immediately got him a lot of servants. The genie again said, "Give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." Sherkhan got very worried. How could he eat? How could he sleep? If he didn't find more and more work, the genie would eat him up. His mind was running out of jobs for the genie. Then Sherkhan had an idea. He told the genie, "I need a big sword." In just a second, the genie was back. "Here is the sword," he said. "Now give me some work to do, or I shall eat you up." "Now listen carefully," Sherkhan said. "Take the sword, go outside the palace, and run around it to guard me." The genie immediately took the sword and started to run around the palace. Sherkhan looked outside the palace and shouted at the genie, "Keep on doing it until I tell you to stop. And mind you, don't waste any time." The genie was very happy because he now had plenty of work to do. He continued to run in a circle around the huge palace. He kept running and running night and day. Then Sherkhan went inside and ate the food. Finally, he was able to sleep. Many days passed and the genie kept on running around the palace. At the end of a month, he was still doing it. He now felt a little bored. "Please, sir," he said to Sherkhan, "may I stop now? I've been running around for a month." "How can you stop?" Sherkhan said. "You can't stop till I tell you, so keep on running around to guard me." Sherkhan stood in the middle of the palace hall, dressed in his fanciest clothes. He thought aloud, "Now I have everything: a big palace, a nice farm, and lots of jewels and diamonds. Now I can marry the most beautiful girl in the world." One of his servants heard him. The servant said, "The most beautiful girl is Princess Noshan." So Sherkhan decided to visit the king. Next morning, he took his servants and guards, and they all went to the king's palace in a very luxurious procession. The servants carried boxes full of precious gifts. Sherkhan offered jewels and diamonds to the king. He asked to marry the beautiful princess. The king was delighted by the gifts. Princess Noshan liked Sherkhan when she saw him. She also was very delighted to have all this jewelry. Sherkhan married the beautiful princess in a very luxurious wedding celebration. He was very happy that he had everything he wanted. 3 months passed and the genie was still running around the palace. Now the genie was really bored. He grew angry and yelled at Sherkhan. Sherkhan, I'm stopping this tedious work now. Give me some new work to do, or I shall eat you up. When Sherkhan saw how angry the genie was, he felt more scared than ever. He said to the genie, All right, today is your last day of guarding the palace. Tomorrow you will get some new interesting work. Sherkhan went back into the palace. He was very worried. Princess Noshan asked him, What is worrying my dear husband? Sherkhan told her the story, and she felt worried too. They couldn't sleep that night, so they stayed up thinking of a plan. Very early in the morning, Sherkhan went back to the forest to the same place he first found the bottle. Luckily, it was still there. Sherkhan went back to the palace and called for his wife. She came immediately. He handed her the bottle. She washed and painted the bottle with bright colors so that the genie would not recognize it. Sherkhan called the genie, pointed at the princess and said, My lovely wife dropped her ring in that bottle. I don't think you can get it out. The genie laughed mockingly and said, Ha ha ha, I'm the greatest. I can do anything I want. All of a sudden, the genie changed into thick black smoke and went into the bottle. Quickly, Sherkhan took the bottle lid out of his pocket and tightly closed it. The genie started shouting, Get me out of here! Get me out of here! Sherkhan smiled, carried the bottle back into the forest and hid it under the bushes. Many years have passed. Sherkhan had got 3 sons who grew up to be great knights. They loved hunting in the forest. One day, his eldest son came back home with a whistling bottle. Sherkhan asked his son, Where did you find this bottle? The eldest son answered, I found it in the forest. Never open it, Sherkhan shouted. Give it to me now. Sherkhan took the bottle and threw it in the sea. Now I feel happy, Sherkhan said, and we all shall live in peace.